Hello, I'm Bryan Johnson, proud principal at Woodway Elementary.
All right, Mr. Johnson, why did you become a principal?
I guess a multitude of reasons, but if I would keep it simple, just watching as I was a teacher and just seeing how other principals led their campuses and listening to teachers and how they wanted to be treated, how they wanted to be trained, what they wanted out of the profession. I just wanted to be a person that was able to give them that and not always be a person that is looked at as a mean or leading in fear. And teachers do things because they fear you, not because they're walking with you. And just to make a change and to make teachers realize that this can be a fulfilling profession. And you still can have fun with all of the expectations. And we can just leave school every day trying to change one life at a time. And I can be the person to create that atmosphere.
Okay. If you could change one thing about the school system, what would it be?
I guess I don't want to say this in a negative way, but I think it depends on the person. But I think if we're honest, I think we need to try to even the playing field as I guess as far off as that sounds, just to see how all schools would do if they all had the same resources. Because it's just different in different communities. Not to say one community is better than the other, but I would love to just see a project put in place to where every school had the equal amount of resources and support from families and finances and things of that nature. Same type of computers, books, tablets, and just even the field in all areas. And another thing, just more support from peers. I think, in my opinion, sometimes competition can become unhealthy, I guess I'll say. But I think all principals and superintendents and directors and teachers should be working together. When they see a school is struggling, I think everyone should kind of, in some way, try to assist that campus, because it's a lot of pressure and people are losing their jobs and kids are being displaced, and it can be a very difficult thing. So I just think education has changed a lot with social media, and everyone has an idea, but the implementation is not there where it needs to be. So I just working together and not taking it so serious. It's serious, but it's not. I mean, you want to help kids, and that's the main goal.
All right. What is your main goal for Woodway Elementary?
Well, when I came, it was a challenge. It was different, but different is good. I guess my goal would be, as you look at how public school and the school system works, you want to leave the campus stable for years to come. I think we're moving in the right direction, but Woodway has had several principals. 1 year, a half year, 2 years. And not to say those principals weren't good principals, but I think you really need stability. So I want to be a stable person here. I love the staff. I want to really hire people who love kids and throw all of the excuses out of the door. And we want to make the school a welcoming environment. And when I leave, I think the main thing for me is how you leave Woodway for the next person. I think sometimes principals have to come to a school and it's just there, and they have to change so many things, and those systems are in place. So I really want the next person who sits at this desk to not have to do all that I had to do. Not saying that I didn't enjoy it or it didn't have to be done, but it would be a lot easier if all the principal had to do was focus on instruction and not everything else. Even though those things that person will have to focus on, but at least we'll have people in place We'll have systems in place where the community can feel that no matter who the principal is, that the school will always achieve at a high level or high standard.
Okay. What are your hobbies, Mr. Johnson?
I love to read. Right now I'm reading The Tycoons. It's a book about J.P. Morgan and Carnegie and Gould and Rockefeller. I love history. I love watching documentaries. I love chess. So I just play chess in my spare time, and martial arts. I really love martial arts. I practice kung fu, so I do that. My dad takes me fishing sometimes. It's not. I wouldn't really call it a hobby. It's just more so of something he likes to do with me. So it kind of becomes a hobby because it's his, and we hang out on the boat and do things together. But my main hobby is I love playing chess, and I love watching documentaries. I love watching things I can learn from. I don't watch too much TV because I have my opinions about that. But those are my main hobbies, basically.
All right. Who influenced you to become an educator?
Several people. My mom, she's been in education for 40 years. She's really a go-getter. I still haven't reached her level yet. She's kind of my bar. I may not make as much money as she makes, but her human capital, what she's put into people is far beyond what I've done. She worked at Pinkston for 35 years in West Dallas, low economic area, situated right next to the projects. When she was there, and she would always go to the projects, and my dad would tell her, hey, don't go over there, it may be dangerous, but she would still go, and she would always tell us, you can't judge the people by their situation and where they live. And she was just that person who just loved kids. They still give her Christmas gifts, and she still speaks with them. She's a real teacher. And I think a lot of teachers need to go back to that, to the basics, and really focus on building up that human capital. Because I know we get paid money, but it's nothing better than uplifting an actual person. So she's my first person. Second person was a fellow by the name of Mr. Bill Townsend. He was an old school principal. He sent me home one time for not wearing a tie, and told me come back when I look like I'm ready to teach. He just influenced me and taught me how to carry myself as a man in the profession. And that's very important because a lot of men, they do a lot of things that put them in bad situations working in schools. You can't do what you used to do when you were working in corporate. This is so connected to perception and how people perceive you to be. So he kind of taught me that and kind of groomed me. I told him what I wanted to do, what I wanted to be. He gave me a blueprint, but he was very tough on me, no nonsense, and he just told me like it was. And he was my first principal who really guided me. After that, I can say Mr. Nakia Douglas was an individual who opened up the Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy in Dallas, an all-boys school, the first one of its kind in Dallas. He gave me my first leadership position. And I just vaguely remember him just always saying, it's always about the kids. And, true story. He was grooming me as a leader. And when you're young and you're moving fast and you think you know everything, you tend to put yourself above the people you're leading. And he just had to give me a hard lesson. And I just remember he said, everyone down, and hey, if you guys don't want to be here, I have transfer papers, but my way is about the kids, and this is the way we're doing things. And he told me a lot of things about leadership. We just met recently, and he's just still giving me those nuggets of leadership and how to keep my moral compass where it needs to be. And keep God first, read your leadership Bible, and he's just a good man, a very good man to follow, because he has a lot of good characteristics, and he keeps his standards high. And it's indicative of where he is now, if you know who I'm speaking about. But he was a great mentor, and he was a big influence. But one of my major influences was a female by the name of Keisha McDonald. She just taught me how to really be an instructional leader. Like, she would take me into the classrooms, just be very detailed, whether it's about small group guided math or small group guided reading or iStation, and just put me in the position to have conversations with teachers and learn how to really talk to people, you know, and not talk at people, and really see what's on their mind, and really how to listen and how to lead with love. You know, most men are real tough is my way or the highway. We don't tap into that emotional side of things. And to be honest, you know, when you work with a diverse type of people at your school in large numbers, and you're dealing with 60, 70 staff members, you have to get to know each one. And she just led by example. I mean, she was a firecracker. She was always moving, but she did everything in love. And if you couldn't keep up with her, no, you were in trouble, because she was moving 100 miles per hour every single day. I'm still not where she is, but she really infused that instruction into me. You know, and she always told me one thing: Mr. Johnson, if I have to tell you everything, then you're not ready to be a principal. So you can just stay here with me. And so it was those type of conversations, and she really motivated me. She let me do me. She let me do things on the campus. I started meeting mentors at that campus, Dad's Club, just doing the small things, choir duty, buses, books. But she would let me run data meetings. We would sit and talk about instruction. We would calibrate work samples. Just being in that room and really diving into instruction, she really took me to another level, and I was ready to lead a school. I wasn't there when I first got here all the way, but I knew what needed to be done. So those were some people who really motivated me. And here in Fort Worth, I can say Miss Turner, she believed. She was the first one to believe, and she put me in a position. She was like a mother figure. She fussed at me, and she loved on me, and she let me know what was the right way to do things. And I will forever be grateful for her bringing me into that interview and giving me the confidence that you are the person for Woodway. And a lot of people said I wouldn't make it 1 year, and I'm on year 4. So I'm doing something right. Not everything right, but I look at those people who really influenced me. And my mentor, my first year was Dr. Mouton, and the way he carried himself like a man in the profession, and looking at his results, I just looked at those. All of those people were a part of any success I've had or any stability I've had in this position, mentally and physically, because it does take a toll on you every day.
All right. Finally, what is the most challenging part of your position?
I wouldn't say it's a challenge, but a lot of people say, oh, well, you need to be very good instructionally. You have to have an instructional mindset as a principal. You do need that. You do. Another part is the life balance. You're a principal, you're here at 6 o'clock, and you're getting home at 6:30, and you have your family and, you know, your loved ones, and you're balancing that. I bet principals have a high divorce rate. Well, I was divorced, but anyway. But I'm just saying, it's those things come naturally. I mean, you can work through those things, but one thing you can't work through, you can't change people. And you're going to have a lot of people that want to do things a lot of different ways. And I think a lot of principals come in and stagnate the creativity of teachers. You know, I want teachers to come here and feel like they can take chances and they can take risks. But you have to also manage that, because you have individuals who are looking at everything by the numbers. Mr. Johnson, where are your achieve scores at? Mr. Johnson, where are your star scores at? And you may have this one teacher who may be struggling, and you see where she can be in 2 or 3 years. And you have to have that faith in that teacher and grow them. And it's a lot of it is just praying about it and leaning towards God, because a lot of things you don't know. And a lot of these scores that come back, a lot of it can be pure luck. It's a luck of the draw sometimes, how kids will perform and how they will not perform. But my main thing is to not put stress on teachers about STAR scores. I tell them where we are, where we need to be, what the expectation is. But to go back to your question, being patient and building relationships. It's as much of a challenge as you make it. I have some teachers who are very, very firm, very direct, but the kids love them, but the parents may think they're the worst teacher ever. And I would have to have the conversation with that parent and say, no, this is where your kid needs to be, because they need this type of teacher. And if they're in 3rd or 4th grade performing on the kindergarten level, that's why that teacher is like that. That's why they're firm, because they know where this kid needs to be. And I have one teacher who may be very kind, very nurturing, but you have to build relationships, and you really have to take the time to know people. Now, I think a lot of principals come to the table and do not take the time to know their staff. And this is the one thing I always say, because people always try to compare principals. They say, Mr. Johnson, what type of principal do you want to be? What is your challenge? I say, I want to have a good school and have good scores, and my teachers still love me. Now, I've seen some principals have good scores, and when they leave, the teachers are cheering them out the door. And I'm not okay with that. Some may be, but I think it's still that humanistic side to it. I want to try to balance both. And that's my challenge, for the teachers to still respect me and build a relationship with me and respect me and still be able to push them and still be loved when I leave. That's my challenge, and I'm hoping it happens. I can't predict the future, but I do want to always keep my human side and my godly side, even though I'm leading with a lot of expectations, because I think it matters how people talk about you after it's all said and done.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, and I hope that you have a great school year.
Thank you.